Let's go to the gamble. All right, Mr. Pete Najarian, good to see you, sir. How are you on NVDA Day?
I am doing fantastic. I love it. You guys, I'm very intrigued by the conversation. It's great.
Thanks, man. We're bouncing around from trying to stay on top of the hot products, trying to figure out whatever new ways there are to get some edge. That's like what it's about here. It's trying to find every little marginal difference.
Yeah, and I love that you're right there on the trading floor. I really do. It's great. I miss it, but there are things that I don't miss as well. So
what I love is hearing the market. Hearing the market is so nice.
It is.
Because it's like I don't have to look down at my platform. I can hear if something's interesting. It takes a tick down. Right. Tell me what's interesting, what's crossing your radar. You're watching Unusual Options. I saw you guys put something out earlier about the semis, which is obviously right in our target here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's been a hot area for a long time. You know that. I mean, whether it be even more obscure names like a Lam Research that nobody ever really talks that name much at all. And yet, if you take a look year to date, how have they done versus NVIDIA? Well, they're doing a lot better. So we got NVIDIA tonight. That is the biggie. And that's what everybody's talking about. Everybody's looking. As a matter of fact, I just took a look. I think they've already traded 2.3 million contracts.
That's what we were looking at. Monster. It's bigger than I think it was bigger than the Qs today on spot camera.
Yep. And about 1.4 million of that is on the call side. That doesn't mean they're buying every one of those as a buy, but I'm just saying that there's definitely a tilt towards the calls versus the puts today, but that's pretty normal. But going into this number, and obviously earnings season, this is kind of where we really start to lighten up, except for NVIDIA. This is going to be a massive report that everybody, of course, is still sitting in front of and watching it. And, I still got to give the credit to the CEO, the way he pivoted from gaming over to the data centers and the AI and all the rest of that, which is now 88% of their business. You just got to love the way they did that, how they accomplished that. Even if they've got to give 15% to the U.S. government, I think they're pretty happy.
Yeah. You guys saw something that was in Intel too. Do you think is it just those are the two big stories right now, NVIDIA, and for totally different reasons, right? But ironically, It seems like Intel with the wild U.S. government investment, and now becoming kind of like this cultural, firebrand story.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting, right? I mean, it seems a little bit different because of the fact that it's public-private, that whole thing. I think it's something not everybody likes what's going on there. But I think some of the reasons that they use for national security and so forth, I think that's pretty daggone important. So, you can twist it either way. But in any case, $9 billion investment and having about a 10% stake, that's a major deal, I think, for the U.S. government to be able to do that. And can Intel actually be one of these stocks that actually can start making something to the upside and hold on to it into the future? I think the answer is potentially yes. But in the meantime, there is still a lot going on, as you know better than anybody. But the semiconductor world is on fire right now. And whether it be an AMD or a Lam Research or an NVIDIA tonight and everything, that is the focus that everybody's got. And the influence. I mean, shoot, NVIDIA is 12% of the S&P 500. So, This is the big daddy of them all, right?
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff happening in the contracts market as well. If we go into Kalshi here, it's pretty I don't know. I feel like they're selling dollars for 89 cents here on questioning if they're going to mention Hopper on the call. Have we already moved past Hopper so quickly that there's an 11% chance they may not? Like 1 out of 10? I mean, isn't that still a really important part of this business line?
Oh, absolutely it is. But, everybody's going to tear it apart how they tear it apart and what they're really truly looking for. I think that the reality is with NVIDIA, we have seen multiple monstrous trades coming in there over the last, let's call it a little less than a week, really, where they're going all the way out to December with one of them, buying a huge spread out there, and then coming a lot closer into an expiration on Friday, where they're actually attacking almost right where we are. They're going after the 187.5 calls and selling against the 202.5 strike calls. And some of these trades are massive. Some are 30,000 lot trades. I mean, those are big trades, people putting in money for where they think that this is going to end up by the time, at least in the front month, they're looking for that. And then obviously going all the way out into December, that's a major hit that they've got out there. But it's a 290 spread, so a $90 spread that goes out there that costs a lot of money when you start looking at the theta, the time premium that you've got to pay. They're also taking some of that away by selling some of the downside puts. So overly complicated? Not really, but a little bit more complicated as far as the spread. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what's that? Is that something then that looks low probability but high payout? What's your thought? Is that something you want to jump in on, or is
to answer your question, I'm going to jump right now. I like both. I love the fact of the December trade. I think that there's a lot going on in terms of the potential for NVIDIA as we get into, I've been saying this for a while, second half of the year. That's where we really wanted to see what things were going to be happening. Well, we're pretty daggone close to that, right? Yeah. So I'm looking at that, and I'm still pretty excited about what we see going on there. And they're going out into December. That's going to cover quite a few different pieces of this puzzle that goes together when you talk about NVIDIA. And I'm excited for what we're seeing, quite honestly, Oliver. I like what we see in the front month, too, because oftentimes in NVIDIA, they go a little bit further out. This time they went right at these 29th expiring calls here in August. So are they going right after it, thinking there's something bullish there? It sure looks that way with the numbers that we're seeing.
Kind of echoes what we were looking at with Brent too, which is the broader market implied vol and what next week looks like, assuming things go smooth. It seems like there's this big breath of relief that might happen, and you could have a big drop in vol if things go well today. That kind of seems maybe the same notion of some of that short-term action getting pushed up that you're looking at.
I just wonder how much further down we can go. I mean, here we are basically, and it's been a very tight range for a while now. When we got up and over 20, a lot of people were pretty nervous. We didn't stay there for any time frame hardly at all. Yes, we closed over 20, but then the next thing you know, we're back into the teens. We're into the 17s and the 18s, dropping all the way down, and now we've been stuck in this very tight area for at least a few trading sessions, 14s and 15s. So, we've got... Yeah, and we've gotten through a lot of the headaches that we've got and some of the issues, and obviously tariffs are still an issue, but it seems like we're navigating through that very well. Just look at the beats in the earnings this quarter. Absolutely just astounding, especially if you listen to too many people on TV who tell you how bad things are. They're not quite as bad as what everybody says on TV, are they? It seems to me, and we're seeing that with the data
down here. I can barely get a seat for lunch in the Gold Coast at 3:30 p.m. yesterday. It's like, doesn't seem like.
Don't even try to go to the bars.
So Pete, basically, if they don't bomb tonight, it seems like we could be looking for vol crush. We could be looking for short-term upside to get paid off for NVIDIA. Now, if, of course, this goes the other way, do you think that what hits the fan? Or will market find comfort that, Powell will have a put somewhere down there?
Well, it certainly will determine on why it gets hit, if it gets hit. What's the rationale? What was the reasoning behind that? They give us some sort of a picture of that, because certainly if the guidance isn't there, they're going to hit the stock. I don't care what numbers they put up. If the guidance isn't there, they're going to sell the stock off. But I don't expect that. That's for sure. And it's not like I come in as a raging bull. I just look at the numbers, look at what's going on with the AI and all these data centers and all the requirements that are out there, and people are just wanting to be there, right? Everybody wants to be in that space right now. So it seems to me the demand is still there. It's been going on for a while, but I think it can continue a little bit longer. So with that in mind, I think that there's a lot of reasons to be pretty bullish. Now, if it did come down, I think that would create some opportunities around the markets, because it depends what gets pulled down with it. But I've been loving the financials since the beginning of the year. I continue to love these financials. And look at the deals. Look at the IPOs, but also look at all the big deals that have been going on this year. Yeah. Anybody who's in the investment bank industry right now is absolutely crushing it. From Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, to Morgan Stanley. I mean, you go through the whole list. It's absolutely extraordinary. And we see another deal, it seems like, every single day. It's just been incredible.
Nice little tease, because we got a bank expert coming on, a little bit of a different angle. We're going to be talking some stable